end step, to ferry in play.
That's exciting, actually. That's pretty
Jason
exciting.
leads off with a pulse tracker, aggressive start. It's a very good play when your opponent opens up with an island.
A possible bug player over there. It looks like a Grave Titan.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a bug deck. It could also just be a straight-up blue-black control deck.
Donnie on 18.
Jason doesn't have any red mana.
Sure.
Bug is one of the big archetypes to come out in this tournament as a, breakout deck. I was playing games with it last night and it seemed like I couldn't even imagine playing anything else. The Saraseer from Jason. It's not the most optimal of 2-drops.
Yeah, there's so many things he could have dropped, which means that he
might be setting something up, though.
Good.
It's better.
Accept. Yep.
he's got all 3 colors.
Take 3. 14.
Jason's bashing in, putting Donnie down to 14.
14. Next pitch. Sure.
And we got a Hex Mage joining the party. Now, looking at Jason's hand, I haven't seen anything other than black. I didn't get a perfectly clear draw or gaze at it, but oh, there we go. There's a red card. Okay.
Yep. Whatever it is.
No, I don't think that's a red card. I think that may be a dark tutelage.
Maybe you're right.
Garrick's really good in this spot. A 3-power guy is just so good against the vampire deck.
There we go. He's just drawn an Arc Trail.
Just drew an Arc Trail.
Okay, so we do have confirmation that he is black-red. It looked like he might not have been for a moment.
He's probably going to Gatekeeper here. Then the Hex Mage will go at the Garrick, and the other 2 are going to hit him in the face.
Sounds like a really reasonable set of plays.
I don't even think his deck has a better play for this turn.
Yeah. I mean, like, essentially gatekeepering away 2 cards.
Not that good. It's like, man, sack line and I'll lose blood.
It's still just 1 card. And Garrick still didn't,
That token is a card. I will call it a card. We can disagree
so we're
on...
chalking Garrick up to like a draw 2, draw 2, gain 2.
Will it be? Yes. It's like, I'll take 5 total. Go to 9. Donnie on 9. Second main? Sure.
Huh,
Wow.
That's very interesting.
Well, he wanted to get in 2 damage more than he wanted to have that Hex Mage in play.
Explore. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit shocking to me.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me.
I mean, you're going to get that 2 damage back on the subsequent turn.
He may be right though, because if he's trying to like lethal out his opponent quickly, the thing is he will not be able to attack after this next turn. This is his last turn where he gets to attack.
But he gets that damage back by having the creature in
right,
play.
and then he has something that like deals with a Jace. So
Text him. Yep.
he doesn't know he's getting that extra attack though. He could have gotten Consume the Mate. His opponent just had the land for it now. This turn. Maybe he was playing around that.
Sure. Wait.
Dark Tutelage. Pretty big fan of that card.
What's that?
What do you mean by when you said shield up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Donnie is still in real trouble, even though he's got a Grave Titan that he can cast.
Oh, let it go.
Yeah, I mean, a red source is pretty bad news for Donnie at this point.
Well, I still think it's going to matter. don't think it is either, so I'm not really press it.
The pulse tracker can put him down to 3, regardless of how many block threats he has, and then a bolt is good enough to end it.
Okay, so mana leak for that tutelage. That's actually pretty devastating.
That's pretty big.
There is a bolt in hand. No, it's Arc Trail. Arc Trail. My bad.
Well, I think he has a Highborn in his hand, so if he gets this, if Donnie casts the Grave Titan this turn, the game is over.
Yes.
Two.
He can just kill him by,
Gotta do something.
attacking the Pulse Tracker and then, sacrificing stuff to Viserys here. He doesn't even need to attack the Pulse Tracker, it's just lights out.
Jason, you on 17 or 19?
I'm at 19.
This is Adrian Sullivan here with
Donnie's
Star
actually
City
at
Games
40
Live.
right now. He fetched.
Donnie's on
This is Adrian Sullivan here with Star City Games Live, bringing you coverage of the Kansas City Standard Open Series. I'm here with Jacob Van Lunen, and we're watching the 4th round matchup between, well, you can see Jason Golliher right now, who is just crushing Donnie Noland. Jason easily came out of the gates with a really aggressive Vampires draw from a black-red Vampires deck. Donnie Noland trying to hang on to some semblance of life with a black-blue-green bug control deck.
Yeah, this Vampires deck seems to be doing very well today.
Yeah.
I was talking a bit with some folks. I was walking around in between the break, and everybody I saw who was playing Black Red Vampires was 3-0. So,
Well, I mean, you might have been talking to some of the really good players, though, too.
yes, I was talking to some decent players, but I talked to some decent players playing a lot of other decks also, and not all of them were 3-0.
Yeah, looking at Donnie's face there, he looks pretty nonplussed. Just gonna go to the next game, gonna push past that pretty resounding defeat. Probably is gonna have what I'm gonna guess Obstinate Baloth, maybe consuming Vapors, maybe Consume the Meek.
Yeah, Consume the Meek is a card that he's almost definitely going to have post-board here. I was talking to Nick Spagnola last night. He really likes Lighthouse Chronologist in this deck.
Right.
Just 3 toughness dudes are so good. Like, Bolt kills them, but they have to have the Bolt, and if they don't, an entire team of 2 power guys with 1 toughness and a few 2/2s is pretty badly hurt just by the,
It looks like Donnie was briefly considering Spreading Seas as a possible choice, which is interesting and also problematic. So he didn't end up going with Spreading Seas.
I think he made a mistake.
Here.
I think Spreading Seas is the best card he has.
It's gonna work at 7.
That's interesting.
PM.
This is the black.
Every card in his deck requires is so mana intensive.
Boss
His,
told me I could give him $100 and he worked for me.
everything costs solid black mana. That's black. If you're not bringing in Spreading Seas in this matchup, I have no idea why you have Spreading Seas in your deck. You're not playing against Jump anymore. Spreading Seas is the best card.
My work option.
Actually, that's the card you fear if you're playing Black Red Vampires.
Fully. So sure. I always thought I chose Paris.
A line of play that includes Spreading Seasing any black-red dual land can actually be really devastating in terms of the development of Jason or any black-red vampire's hand. Their hand can get just stranded.
Nashville.
If they have multiple gatekeepers, things like that.
I loved your.
Turning a land into an island is
Nashville,
essentially
right?
Stone Ring.
It was one of the best venues I've ever been to.
And it's any land.
In terms
any
of
land that you
where
put
it's
Spreading
located,
Seas in this
but also
matchup,
just the room
every
itself
card
is so
costs
big.
all
And I
colorless
realized
mana.
that.
There are no cards that cost any colorless mana except a 1 or 2 of Dark Tutelage.
Yeah.
So
You just
Spreading
understand
Seas
what
is
you're
actually
looking
a
for.
2 mana cantrip Stone Ring.
I think there is Arc Trail, but Arc Trail is not a big portion of what makes the black-red vampires good in this matchup. But regardless, your point stands.
Yeah, I think
All of the real action from the deck tends to come from colored mana.
and what I mean by a cantrip is a card that you play that draws you a card in addition to having an effect.
$40 for extended, and I'm sure
It's,
it's $1 grand.
That's classic D&D gamer speak that ended up finding its way into Magic right when those cards were first created back in Ice Age block.
In Ice Age, I believe they were actually slow trips because you drew the extra card at the
They
beginning of your next turn.
They got called slow trips once the fast trips.
Once real cantrips came to fruition.
Yeah. Okay, so we got an opening here. Creeping Tar Pit from Donnie Noland versus the other
40.
Manland Lava Claw reaches.
In fairness, it's not like they're not going to get it, you know. Yeah. I mean,
Now imagine if he's spreading seas here. just imagine a world where he has spreading seas in his hand.
yeah.
I'd just like everybody to do that pretty good.
I run these things. So it tells you something.
Especially on the play.
Like Donnie.
Oh man.
I can see a real difference, though, between on the play and on the draw with Spreading Seas. On the draw, you might cast that Spreading Seas and just be one turn behind the whole time with just taking that action when you might have done something else with it.
I think I still, you know.
Sure.
I don't think I would ever take Seas out in this matchup. I mean, the forums are talking about Spreading Seas right now, and yeah, I actually think I would rather be casting Spreading Seas against vampires than Sinkhole. if Sinkhole costs 1 U, I would rather be casting Spreading Seas.
The card draw.
Yeah, it's a Stone Rain that cantrips in this matchup.
And we got. I'm guessing it's going to be. There he is.
Sure. 22.
Austin and Bailoff is also huge in this matchup, though.
Yeah.
4 toughness
22.
is really hard for the vampire deck. He really needs a gatekeeper here.
Yep. And I bet you he has it. I just got his feeling.
Got that feeling?
Oh.
Those gatekeepers are really hard to cast when you bring in those Spreading Seas. Things do not look bad for Donnie, though. Donnie on the bug deck on the play is so hard for anybody to beat.
Oh, he's got his own Spreading Seas in the form of Acidic Slime.
Yeah.
Now, this card is actually pretty shockingly good here. Like, it's going to take out 2 cards, period. You know,
Conley was saying that before when we had him in the booth. He was saying that Acidic Slime is very good against vampires. He was saying that's one reason that he decided to play 4 of that main deck, which surprised me. It's not like when you think about vampires and the way it works, the first card that comes to mind is not a 4 mana 2/2 as a 5 mana 2/2 as a way to fight it, but you know, the slime, just land destruction in general is so good against them. It's very interesting that a deck with so many like 1 and 2 drops could be so greatly affected by land destruction.
But the thing about this is, right, what does Jason do here? Does he take his turn up to get that slime out of the way and then attack? This just buys Donnie another turn to get towards a Titan.
I think Jason here probably just like puts the Dark Tutelage in play.
This seems like a good time for it.
Yeah. I mean, the longer that thing is in play, the better it is. The big issue here, though, is that his opponent could conceivably... Are those... Do you see any black sources in play right now? Is that an island underneath that one forest there?
Underneath that is a Creeping Tar Pit.
Oh, he has a Creeping Tar Pit. So, Donnie could just untap and cast a Grave Titan.
Yeah.
Just lock it up.
Donnie 18.
I think he does.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's
pretty good, too.
Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Standard is not short on 6 drops that win games. There are many of them.
I mean,
Magic players, Two-Headed Giant will be starting in about 10 minutes. If you haven't registered yet and would like to do so, now is the time. Please come out to the side of the stage, or my friend Tasha can get you signed up. Once again, this is last call for Two-Headed Giant signups. We will be starting in 10 minutes.
17. Your turn.
Wormcoil is a great card. It's been seeing a lot of extended play lately.
yeah, Wormcoil, it kind of almost makes the Titans feel a little silly in a certain sense.
I could see him just blocking with the Hex Mage and sacrificing it.
Yep.
You know.
Take the tokens off of a swamp. There we go. All of the tokens on your island are gone. What? What does that do? Yeah.
I mean, don't worry, Donnie. That Wormcoil is doing some work.
So long as you don't bounce that Gatekeeper, you should be fine.
Yeah. I mean, even if you do bounce the gatekeeper, you get 2 3-3s, right?
So even if you make the worst possible play, you're
You
still
make
okay.
the worst play available, you're still... At 2 4-mana planeswalkers, for good measure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Solve it over. I mean,
Okay, so what he needs to do here is, let's see,
Still 19.
somehow hypnotize Donnie into cheating really aggressively so that the judge DQs him. I think that's the plan.
well,
Okay.
I think the plan at this point is win game 3.
17.
Yeah.
I mean, I would almost be very willing to scoop right now, just because I don't want to show my opponent anything more off of that tutelage. I mean, if he has anything that's sneaky, he might not have anything sneaky. It might not even matter.
But also scooping right now, like some people, like the concept of scooping early to hide information when you're really far behind is something that I think gets a lot of people into a lot of trouble because people hear pros say that type of thing and tend to scoop earlier than is even necessary.
This is true.
Another thing that happens with scooping early is, yes, he might reveal a card off the top of his deck and show his opponent something his opponent might not know about, but by scooping early, he tells his opponent, I have no way to win through this, which might even give his opponent more information than if he lets him see the cards, because what if he just doesn't have anything to deal with it? Then he's not going to show him anything special.
Right.
All he is like, he's at least leaving it open as, like, an option. So Donnie's probably going to make a 3-3 here. To me, that seems like the best option. He makes a 3-3. He attacks with his Wormcoil. He's going to lose to the Garrick. He may not even attack with the Wormcoil.
Cards. Shoot.
Yep, the tar pit. He's got 2 tar pits. Looks like he's making them both.
Well, Donnie
then-
before did not gain life.
and
off
then
of
we
his
got
Wormcoil
Trample.
engine because
Overrun.
Oh, we overrun it up with those. That's it. That'll do.
The amazing interaction of Death Touch and Trample.
That's 21 damage, and there's only 3 points of toughness on the board, so
1 game each.
one more than Xaxes.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered if he'd had more
It doesn't
toughness.
matter
If he could have had out 3 Grave Titans and if he had no zombies, and it still would have killed him.
I didn't see it at first either.
Death Touch and Trample. He only needs to do 1 damage with the Wormcoil engine, and then he can trample right through.
Probably still be in this game.
You're right.
I mean, it seems like the right call.
Forgot you could split up Death Touch very nicely now.
Yeah.
James game. I was playtesting with Rug, and I actually switched to this deck this morning.
Jason
and
has a look that kind of says,
every time I get that
wow,
play,
okay.
I just have like a couple card and some oracles, and I should be like 15U.
I mean, Jason just felt what it's like to be on the draw against the bug deck.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
thinking about just making a guy and
I mean, Explorer is one of those cards that just you can't deny its real power. You have a deck that already has good cards. You speed up to them, and you make your deck a little bit smaller to get there.
Yeah, Explorer ramps you into really absurd things. It's also very interesting how good Acidic Slime was there.
Oh, Acidic Slime was just devastating.
Yeah, like Donnie's life total of 15 at the end was like, it was a soft 15. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of burn in Jason's hand. Like that 15 could have like dwindled to 6 very quickly, and if there wasn't an Acidic Slime on that table to like blow up a land and get that tempo, and then force him to use a burn spell on the Acidic Slime, like, things could have gone very differently in that game. So,
Going back to the sideboard again, see if anything shows up that's new.
I hate watching myself on video because then I always get to see those things you did wrong that you never
So
thought
it
about
sounds
the
as though Star City Games' own Lauren Lee is making the top 8 of the PTQ in Roanoke.
It's only 2:56.
Here,
So it's 3:56 there?
I think that's 3 hours off there.
No, Roanoke.
I mean, I have no idea what time zone this is.
It's Central Time Zone. We're only an hour behind them.
Is this Central? Okay.
Right.
Maybe it was a small PTQ.
Small PTQ. Jeez. Lauren Lee is drawing into the top 8 of a PTQ.
Roanoke.
4 in the afternoon, drawing in the top 8 of a PTQ. It's a pretty nice life. Every time I've ever drawn in the top 8 of a PTQ, it's been like midnight, and I had 3 hours of sleep the night before, and I had just driven 5 hours there. And the prospect of winning the PTQ is very exciting, but in the same way, like on the drive home, I'm like 50-50 to die. So.
Unless we're doing 3 out of 5, and this is going to be a little close.
Okay, so now we have the situation that Game 3, Jason's on the play, which is exactly where he wants to be.
I'll play. I would have never guessed.
Explore, even, coming at this point, can still even be slow when it comes to how this works out sometimes,
It's on a ramp deck too, but
I mean, there's certain things.
It's possible for the Vampire deck just to be so far out the gate that the Explorer is great, but still like, wow, I've got all this coming at me still.
Yeah. Being on the draw against the deck with that many 1-drops and that many 2-drops. Like, if somebody goes turn 1, Pulse Tracker or Lacerator, and then, like, turn 2, Highborn or Hexmage, you're just in a really rough spot. It's tough.
Thankfully, though, just a Viscera Seer.
That makes a big difference.
Yes.
Every attack is 5% less of this person's life total, so.
fetch.
19.
So Lauren Lee drew in a top 8, but this is the second to last round. So she is.
Attention, Magic
I would,
players.
5, 1, and 1 maybe?
Last call for registration.
Seems
is
reasonable.
To get a giant seal, the challenge. If
I
you
would
like to
I would
play
bet that
and
Lauren
get
Lee
a
is
giant
battling with
seal, you
Mythic
need
right
to
now.
make your way to the site of
I would bet you're
SC
correct.
immediately.
I would bet you're correct.
That is her deck of choice. She won a PTQ playing Mythic in the standard season that recently happened. Be cool to see her
Do
take
it again?
2 formats with the same deck.
To explore all 3 games.
Okay, the best possible play here for Donnie, I think, probably is Explore into a land.
Game 1.
That's fair.
This is like a pretty unimpressive constructed start for an aggro deck, going 1 power guy, 2 power guy. In a world of plated GP, it's a goblin guides.
What do you think of the mana leaks that Donnie has in on the draw here for this matchup?
Put them both on top.
I don't know, I feel like by the time you're able to cast the mana leaks, you kind of need to tap out on your own turn in order to, deal with the onslaught.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly. I could see it on the play because that can help you stifle that onslaught, but
Things are heating up.
okay.
Highborn is just so good here.
He wants a green source. Wow. That was not what he wanted to be having his start be.
I mean, he bottomed 2 cards of that preordained, so he is digging.
Is that a forest he's looking at?
Hand on the face. That is, if anybody here has ever read Caro's Book of Tells, if somebody touches their face during a match, you can probably assume that they are not too happy with their position as a sign of bluffing. So when people attack into boards where it's awkward when they attack and they're touching their face, block. It's a helpful tip for all those who are looking to take their game to the next level.
Just don't get too caught in the Princess Bride game.
3.
Obviously, he knows that I would be touching my face. But you must have realized I would realize that. Yeah, that is a classic Magic the Gathering strategy book. Caro's Book of Tells.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kara's Book of Tells is probably one of the most important books to read for somebody who wants to be
If you're
like,
serious
a high-level
about
Magic
this,
player.
yeah, if you're serious about it, go to the bookstore and get one.
Donnie is agonizing over which land to play. Maybe he's agonizing over order of operations.
Spreading Seas. He's got the forest he needs, but he's also got 5 damage coming in, knock him down to half life.
I'll fetch 4.
And when you're 10 and your opponent has a Viserys Seer and a Highborn in play, you cannot feel very good. I'd like to give a shout out here for I am too pro for words.
Next time. Yep. Take 5, go to 10.
Okay.
Donnie on 10.
Looks like a handful of red on the other side of the table. No red to cast it with.
I mean,
Acidic
then Donnie
slime
may
again?
have a shot here. I mean, at a 6.
Oh.
I mean, Acidic Slime's pretty good here. Like, taking that Black Source away is a lot more powerful than it seems. Like, you know, Jason wants to be able to cast spells and have black mana for that Highborn, and Highborn is so valuable right now.
Yeah.
And the slime means that, ooh, that is also very good.
I'm not gonna lie, I like that better than a slime right now. Even if he goes down and casts the Gatekeeper, I still like it better.
Yeah, I mean, I did not know he had that in
Attention
his hand.
players,
That
in the
is
two-headed giant
perfect
challenge, your
for this
seedings for
spot
deck
right now.
construction are posted at side events. Players in two-headed giant, your seedings for deck construction are posted on the zip banner
Things are
at
turning around
side
pretty quickly
events.
here for Jason.
Your head judge, Steve, is currently raising his arm in the air. Please report to him. Your tables are numbered, and he will get your tournament started. Again, 2HG, your seedings for deck construction are posted.
Yeah, for those of you thinking about Caro's Book of Tells, C-A-R-O, when I say that is the one of the most important books for Magic strategy, it's clearly not written with Magic in mind, but it doesn't matter. It's a book that it will change the way you look at playing.
And a lot of it is irrelevant to Magic.
Yes,
a lot of it has to do with things that don't exist in Magic.
Chips, yes.
And, you know, like... And like there are things like if your opponent holds their cards in their hand above the table, like
how your opponent holds a
Magic
cigarette.
players all do that, you know? Yeah, exactly. There are things like, you know, like if your opponent is puffing away on their cigarette, then their hand is strong, and if they've stopped smoking it, you know,
I don't remember the last time I was at a
Holding their
Magic
breath.
event with opponent smoking a cigarette in it, but
I haven't played many of those either. You know. All those Magic events that happened in 1925, you know.
Yeah, I think you could just go back to the 70s and have the cigarettes coming in. Okay, we've got 2 creatures marching into the Bailoff. One will be munched. This is actually an interesting question. Like, I almost kind of want to eat that seer.
I mean, it takes away like an entire route to victory.
There we go. Yeah, there's the seer.
4 damage, second screen.
Let's scry.
They want to drink.
I mean, if Jason doesn't play land here, the slime is basically just lights, right?
I think that it's mostly correct. There are still paths, you know, like he can get some stuff after the top after that, but it's pretty bad.
Take 2.
Are you 1912?
1910 after attack.
Jason 19, Donnie 10.
Back down to 10 life. Look at all that red in the hand.
Yeah, that's another important one. When people are shuffling their hand and playing a combo deck, you can often assume that they need to draw a specific card. They're looking for a certain card.
Here we go. 5-drop
Or the slow
slime.
peel off the top is another clue for that.
Devastating.
But
Devastating.
It's pretty game breaking. 4 toughness makes this really hard.
And then here, of course, is the red source.
Again, this is Jacob Van Lunen here with Adrian Sullivan. We're in Kansas City here at the Star City Games Open Series inaugural event for 2011, featuring a round 4 feature match between Donnie Noland and Jason Golliher. Things are looking very good for Donnie right now.
Well, he's just been knocked down to 9, and he's going to go down to 5 with an opponent who has some burn in their hand.
So you get a 6? Oh, I'm sorry, to 5?
Yeah, I mean this 2 extra black sources just, he has a good amount of power on the table right now.
Yes, and I believe that there is a spreading seas in Donnie's hand.
And it's actually nice. Now he can attack with both guys, and his opponent, if he blocks the highborn, he can put first strike damage on the stack, and then, well, not damage on the stack, that doesn't work anymore, but he can use first strike damage, and then before regular combat damage, he can sacrifice the Vampire Hex Mage, and then when damage happens and the highborn dies, he can sacrifice that, and then he's got lethal. So,
and there's the Seas is definitely knocking out the red once again.
So the game is over. If Jason makes the right series of plays, Jason has to attack with both creatures, and can then sacrifice the Hex Mage before regular combat damage, and Jason can steal this game.
He's got the red source in hand, a new red source. That's it.
The shaking hands means you're very strong.
4.
Remember, there is a mana leak.
The mana leak doesn't matter. He's the one on board.
Ooh, it comes into play tapped.
But his opponent does have a tar pit, so he doesn't have the one on board.
Yeah, there's a tar pit. The tar pit makes it not a kill.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't see the tar pit there. I assumed it was a Dark Slick Shores.
And that's a
My
great...
current standard card is Oracle of Moldiah. It's the best card right now.
And also, he doesn't have to block the vampire. Or I mean the Colostria. He can block the Vampire Hex Mage and not be dead by that line of plays.
But if he does that, then he's blocking the wrong guy, and then the highborn is still in play. It's just.
But I mean, then he's not dead on board. So.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And we got a Grave Titan coming to the mix.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. This red source is going to untap, and Jason's going to bolt him, right?
Yeah. Block him, drain it. It's the power of that highborn.
Go ahead.
And I actually don't like the mana leaks here at all. After further thought, especially the spreading seas are so good, but if you're having the spreading seas, then you have these irrelevant lands that then become useful because the mana leaks are around.
I mean, the only way he's going to win or survive this turn is with a flash freeze.
We're looking for one more player.
Well, he just got bolted, so
queue.
Jason just has to
mana leak, and I'll pay.
And
there we go.
Well done. Jason Golliher gets there. That was a very interesting game. Things going back and forth, and Donnie didn't draw very well toward the end there. So
I misplayed at one point, like bad hand. I had the red man up.
Like a
just attacked,
competitive
and then I blocked it,
draft.
it was bolt
3 more
before,
seats
after
open
first
in
strike
a
damage,
competitive
I was
draft.
like,
That's also